shutdowns, daily changes in protocol, masks, disinfectants, fear, anger, layoffs, fighting with family and friends, political wrangling, uncertainty, death, sickness, burying friends and loved ones, shifting technologies, frustrations, shortages. It was perhaps the closest I've ever been to being absolutely stark raving mad in those earliest days of COVID. It was also when I really began to ponder, was there really such a thing as an evil spirit? We hear the stories in the Bible about possession. In those days, I wasn't as certain as I had been in the past that there was no such thing. Suddenly, a story like the Gerasene demoniac who wandered the cemetery in chains made sense. I could relate to that man. I had become less than human in my own eyes. Nothing was familiar, nothing was secure, nothing felt right about the world around me or about me. And even now, it all feels strange. Jesus came to the demoniac there in the cemetery. He called the demon out. "What is your name?" "My name is Legion, because there are so many." "Ah, yes, I know that feeling." And before he casts him out, the evil spirit suggests that he send him into the swine, and he does, and the swine go tumbling over the cliff. And the man is restored to humanity, to community. We know what that feels like. We know those first moments when we were able to be reunited with loved ones and friends, when the mask slowly came off, when life returned to a shade of normalcy. Last week, we gathered as a church in assembly in the Northwestern Pennsylvania Synod for the first time in 2 years. It brought many of us to tears, to see old friends, to be restored. We talk about the healing of that ultimate relationship between us and God, that which makes us human, in the waters of baptism. A restoration made possible in the life, death, and resurrection of Jesus, who welcomes us home, who restores us to relationship with God, and invites us into a deeper relationship with both God and our neighbor. That gift, that restoration, that being fully human again, means change. We rarely talk about that when we talk about baptism, but the gift of baptism is a daily invitation to be recreated, to grow deeper into those relationships with God and neighbor. And sometimes that's uncomfortable. One of the realities of the Gerasene demoniac is that when he was restored to community, The pig farmers were out of a livelihood. He was not welcomed by everyone with such joy. And sometimes our changes in lives cause us to really wrestle with new life. It's not always as easy as we think it will be. Coming out of COVID is no piece of cake. There's no going back. Some things will change forever. Some things will be new. Some old friends are gone. Some new relationships will be formed. Some old relationships will get a bit stormy. One of the crises facing the church is, what does the church look like now after COVID? It's easy to say, well, we will be digital more. But does that make us less human? It's a question to ponder. What will life be like as we come out of this time of insanity? Will we make those changes? Will we allow God to recreate not only us, but the world around us? It will be an interesting time. But one thing is for certain, that we're not alone. But God continues to go with us, even in the midst of this insanity, bringing us healing, restoring us to communion, bringing us community and humanity. Oh, praise the gracious power that tumbles walls of fear and gathers in one house of faith all strangers far and near. Oh, praise the persistent truth that opens fisted minds and eases from their anxious clutch the prejudice that blinds. Oh, praise inclusive love, encircling every race, oblivious to gender, wealth, to social rank or place. Oh, praise the word of faith that claims us as God's own, a living temple built on Christ, our rock and cornerstone. Oh, praise the tide of grace that laps at every shore, with visions of a world at peace, no longer bled by war. Oh, praise the power, the truth, the love, the word, the tide. Yet more than these, oh, praise their source, praise Christ, the crucified. Oh, praise the living Christ, with faith's bright songful voice. Announce the gospel to the world, and with these words rejoice. We praise you, Christ, your cross has made us one.